Welcome, everyone. Today, I am going to tell you a very interesting and detailed story about a young man who moved to another country to follow his dream of becoming a doctor. This story is not just for entertainment, but also to help you improve your English. So, listen carefully, learn new vocabulary, and enjoy this journey. Now, let's begin. Hello, my name is Noah. I'm 25 and a medical student in Tokyo. I'm from Australia. 2 years ago, I decided to become a doctor. Of course, every profession is great, but I have always heard that people consider doctors as God on earth because they save lives. That idea touched my heart, and I thought, if I can save even one life, my existence will have meaning. That's why I chose medicine. Right now, I live in Tokyo, Japan, and I am studying at one of the best medical universities here. Tokyo is a fast-paced city full of lights, technology, and culture. But for a medical student like me, life is not just about exploring the city. It's about sleepless nights, hard work, and dedication. When I entered the operation theater, OT, for the first time, I realized why people respect doctors so much. The smell of antiseptics, the bright surgical lights, the silence in the room. Everything felt intense. And then, I saw a patient lying on the table, unconscious, trusting the doctors with his life. That moment changed everything for me. I thought, this is not just a profession, this is a responsibility. Today, I am going to share my daily life as a medical student in Tokyo. If you are thinking of studying medicine or living in another country, this will be very useful for you. My morning routine. I wake up at 5 a.m. The world is quiet. My family and friends back in Australia are still sleeping, but I have to wake up. In medical school, you don't get the luxury of sleeping late. The first thing I do after waking up is wash my face with cold water. It helps me feel fresh. Then I make my bed. Some people think making a bed is a small thing, but trust me, when you start your day with small discipline, it gives you a sense of control over your life. After that, I start studying. Studying early in the morning is the best because there are no distractions. Everyone else is sleeping, so the environment is peaceful. I study for about 2 hours. Some of my subjects are anatomy, physiology, pathology, and pharmacology. If you don't know these words, don't worry. Anatomy. The study of the human body structure, bones, muscles, organs. Physiology. The study of how the body works. Pathology, the study of diseases. Pharmacology, the study of medicines and how they work. Even on holidays, I wake up early, but I do something different. I watch my favorite Netflix series. Yeah, I am a medical student, but that doesn't mean I don't have fun. Watching series helps me relax. My current favorite series is Dr. X, a Japanese medical drama. Exercise and cleaning my room. After studying, I do some exercise. Sitting and studying for long hours can make you lazy, so exercise is important. I do basic workouts like push-ups, jumping jacks, and stretching. It keeps my mind fresh and my body active. Then I clean my room. Some people think that boys don't clean their rooms, but I believe that a clean space gives you a clean mind. When I first came to Tokyo and rented this room, I paid $500 per month, but the room was dirty. So I had to clean it myself. Now I clean it every day to keep it neat. Going to university. After getting ready, I go to my university. Medical classes are intense. The professors teach us about the human body, diseases, and surgeries. Sometimes we get to see real cadavers, dead bodies used for medical study. It's a little scary at first, but it's the best way to learn. Our professors always say, "A good doctor is not the one who knows everything, but the one who never stops learning." After a long day at university, I feel exhausted, very tired, and starving, very hungry. Back in my hometown, I never had to worry about food. Whenever I was hungry, I would just shout, "Mom, what's for lunch?" And within minutes, a delicious homemade meal would be in front of me. But here, no mom, no home-cooked food, just me, my empty fridge, and my cooking struggles. Sometimes I look at my phone and think, should I just call my mom and ask how to make food on my own? But then I remember, I'm supposed to be an independent adult now. If you're still living with your family, trust me, enjoy it. You may not realize it now, but it's a blessing. No one will love you like your family does. They take care of you without expecting anything in return. But when you live alone, you understand the real value of home. Almost every evening, I FaceTime my family. My mom always asks, "Are you eating well?" And I lie. Yes, of course. But the truth? Some days I eat just instant noodles and boiled eggs because I don't have the energy to cook. My younger sister, who is still in school, always says, "Brother, you were so excited to go abroad, but now you miss home." And I laugh. Yes. When I was in Australia, I always dreamed about going to another country. But now I dream about going back home. That's life. When you have something, you don't value it. But when it's gone, you realize how important it was. Dinner at a small Japanese restaurant. Since I was too tired to cook, I decided to eat outside. I found a small Japanese restaurant near my university. The moment I entered, the smell of fresh ramen and grilled chicken filled the air. I sat down, looked at the menu, and ordered a big bowl of tonkotsu ramen, a creamy pork-based noodle soup, and some gyoza, Japanese dumplings. As I waited for my food, I noticed a woman sitting alone at the next table. She looked about 30 years old and was writing in a travel journal. Since I was curious, I asked, "Are you a solo traveler?" She smiled. "Yes, I love traveling alone." I was impressed. "How many countries have you visited?" She took a sip of her green tea and said, 85. 85? I was shocked. I've only lived in 2 countries and she's been to 85? I asked. "Which one is your favorite?" She thought for a moment and said, "Greece. The blue water, white buildings, and amazing food. It feels like a dream." Our conversation was short, but it inspired me. There are so many places in the world to see, so many experiences to have. Maybe one day when I finish my medical studies, I will travel the world too. A quick shopping trip. After dinner, I went to a nearby convenience store, a small shop that sells everyday items. I needed to buy a few things for my room. Laundry detergent. Yes, in Japan, you have to wash your own clothes. Back home, my mom did all the laundry. But here, if I don't wash my clothes, I will have nothing to wear. Slippers for my room. In Japan, people don't wear shoes inside the house. They have separate slippers for indoors. I liked this culture, so I bought a pair. Instant coffee. Medical students survive on coffee. If I don't drink coffee, I feel sleepy while studying. When I went to the cashier to pay, I tried speaking in Japanese. Learning a new language is difficult, but I am trying my best. The cashier smiled and replied in fast Japanese. I didn't understand anything, so I just nodded and smiled back. Sometimes pretending to understand is the best strategy. Returning to my room. When I reached my room, I felt tired but satisfied. Life as a medical student is busy, but every day teaches me something new. As I lay in bed, I thought about my journey. 2 years ago, I was just a student dreaming about becoming a doctor. Now I am living that dream. It's not easy, but nothing great in life comes easily. A day of exploring Tokyo. Finally, a holiday. No university, no studying, no early morning lectures. Just one full day to relax and do whatever I want. I lay in bed for a few minutes, staring at the ceiling. I could do many things. Sleep all day, binge watch Netflix, or just scroll through my phone. But then I thought, no, I didn't come to Tokyo to waste my time indoors. I should go out and explore the city. So I got out of bed, stretched, and said to myself, let's have an adventure today. Even though it was my day off, I woke up at 5 a.m. like usual because my body was already used to the routine and I couldn't sleep any longer. First, I made myself a simple breakfast. A cup of black coffee and some toast with peanut butter. Back in Australia, breakfast meant a delicious meal with pancakes, scrambled eggs, crispy bacon, and a hot cup of coffee. Here, my breakfast is quick and boring. Just a bowl of cereal and some juice. But hey, it gets the job done. As I sat by my small window sipping my coffee, I made a plan. First stop, Shibuya, the busiest crossing in the world. Second stop, Harajuku, the fashion and street food paradise. Third stop, Shinjuku, the heart of Tokyo's nightlife. Sounds exciting, right? I put on my sneakers, grabbed my phone, and stepped out of my room. The adventure had begun. Tokyo is one of the most expensive cities in the world. And trust me, I feel that every single day. Back home, I could eat a full meal for just a few dollars. Here, even a simple sandwich and a coffee can cost around $10 to $12. And rent? Oh, don't even ask. I live in a tiny room, but the rent is more than an entire house back in my hometown. But even though it's expensive, Tokyo is magical. It's modern, fast-paced, and full of life. Every corner has something interesting. Bright billboards, stylish people, and futuristic buildings. My first stop was Shibuya Crossing, one of the most famous places in Tokyo. Imagine hundreds of people crossing the road from all directions at the same time. It looks chaotic, but somehow it's perfectly organized. I stood there for a moment just watching. Then, when the pedestrian light turned green, I walked with the crowd, feeling like I was in a movie. The energy was electrifying. I saw a small coffee shop nearby, so I decided to take a break. I ordered an iced latte, found a seat near the window, and just watched people. Businessmen in suits, students with headphones, tourists taking pictures. Tokyo is full of different people, different lives. Next, I went to Harajuku, the most fashionable place in Tokyo. Here, people dress however they want. Some wear traditional kimonos, some dress like anime characters, and some have crazy hairstyles with bright colors. I walked through Takashita Street, which is famous for its street food. The smell of freshly made crepes, bubble tea, and fried snacks filled the air. I decided to try something new, a rainbow cotton candy. It was huge, bigger than my face. As I took a bite, the soft sugar melted in my mouth. Near me, a group of teenage girls were taking pictures of their food. That's one thing about Tokyo. People love taking food photos. After walking for hours, I was hungry. So I stopped at a small sushi bar. I sat at the counter and looked at the menu. Everything looked delicious but also super expensive. I sighed and ordered a simple salmon sushi. It was all I could afford. Next to me, a man in his 40s started a conversation. "Are you a tourist?" he asked. I shook my head. No, I live here. I'm a medical student. His eyes widened. Oh, that's impressive. Medicine is a tough field. We started talking, and I found out he was a businessman from London. He had lived in Tokyo for 10 years. It's a great city, he said, but it can be lonely. I nodded. Yes, sometimes I miss home. But I know this experience will make me stronger. Before leaving, he smiled and said, Work hard, but also enjoy life. Don't forget to explore. As the sun went down, I reached my final stop, Shinjuku. Neon lights, tall skyscrapers, and streets full of people. It felt like another world. This is the heart of Tokyo's nightlife. I walked around, taking in the sights and sounds. Musicians were playing on the streets, couples were laughing, and small bars were full of people chatting after work. I found a small ramen shop and decided to have my dinner there. A hot bowl of ramen on a cold night. It was pure happiness. As I ate, I thought about my day. Yes, Tokyo is expensive. Yes, life here is tough. But it's also beautiful, exciting, and full of surprises. Returning home. By the time I reached my room, I was exhausted, but happy. I sat on my bed, scrolling through the photos I had taken today. Shibuya, Harajuku, Shinjuku. It felt like I had lived 100 different lives in just one day. Before sleeping, I wrote a simple note in my diary. Life is expensive, but experiences are priceless. I closed my eyes and smiled. Today was a good day. The next day, I woke up before sunrise as usual. It seemed like just another ordinary day, but I had no idea that it would become the most unforgettable day of my life. I checked my phone. No messages from my family. Back home, my mom used to wake me up with a warm, "Good morning." But now, my alarm was the only voice I heard. I stretched my arms and whispered to myself, "Just another day, keep going." I had my usual morning routine, brushed my teeth, washed my face, and made a quick breakfast. A piece of toast and coffee. Nothing fancy, but enough to keep me going. But today was different. Today, I was about to step into the operating room for the very first time. I had seen surgeries in videos, read about them in textbooks, and imagined them in my mind. But today, I was going to witness it in real life. Stepping into the operation theater. As I entered the operation theater, OT, my heart pounded. The air smelled different, a mix of sterilized gloves, antiseptics, and something I couldn't describe. The room was cold, and the bright lights made everything look serious. The doctors and nurses moved around quickly, their faces hidden behind masks. And then I saw it, a real patient lying on the operating table. Unconscious, vulnerable, completely trusting the doctors with his life. I stood in the corner, watching, holding my breath. The surgery begins. The senior surgeon walked in. He was calm, focused, like a warrior ready for battle. He looked at us, medical students, and said, "Remember, the moment you step into this room, you stop being a student. You are a doctor in training. No fear, no hesitation, only responsibility." I swallowed hard. The nurses prepared the instruments. The sound of metal touching metal sent chills down my spine. Scalpels, forceps, clamps, each tool had the power to save or destroy. And then, the first incision. A sharp blade touched the skin. Blood appeared and my stomach twisted. This was real. This was not a video or a textbook. The surgeon moved with precision, making careful cuts, handling delicate tissues. His hands were steady, his voice calm. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. This was what I had signed up for. A life in my hands. The most intense moment came when the surgeon turned to me and said, "Come here." I froze. He handed me the forceps. My hands shook. "This is your moment," he said. "Hold it firmly." I took a deep breath and stepped forward. My fingers wrapped around the instrument, my mind screaming, "Don't mess this up!" I looked at the patient, his chest rising and falling. A human life was in front of me. With every move, I could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on my shoulders. And then I did it. My first real contribution to a surgery, small but powerful. At that moment, something changed inside me. I was no longer just a student. I was a doctor in the making. The meaning of life and death. The surgery lasted 3 hours. When it was over, the patient was still breathing. Alive, saved. I looked at the team of doctors, tired but satisfied. They had fought a battle, and they had won. I stepped outside the OT and removed my gloves. My hands were sweating, my heart was still racing. I walked down the hallway and found a quiet corner. I sat down, closed my eyes, and thought about everything. Life is so fragile. One wrong move, 1 second too late, and a person is gone forever. And that's when it hit me. I had chosen this path because I wanted respect. But today, I understood that medicine is not about respect. It's about responsibility. Doctors don't just treat patients. They hold lives in their hands. As I sat there, lost in thought, my phone rang. It was my mom. I took a deep breath and answered. "Hello?" Her voice was warm, comforting. "Son, did you eat? Are you okay?" I smiled. "Yes, Mom, I'm okay." For the first time in 2 years, I wanted to cry. I missed home. I missed waking up to the smell of my mom's cooking. I missed my dad's silly jokes. I missed everything. Back then, I used to think, when will I leave home and explore the world? But today, I thought, when will I go back? Because no matter where you go, nothing feels like home. I closed my eyes and whispered, "I'll be back soon." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about everything, my journey, my struggles, my dream. Medicine is not easy. It's painful, exhausting, and demands everything from you. But today, I found my answer. I don't want to be a doctor for respect or money. I want to be a doctor because I want to save lives. I want to be there in the most critical moments, holding someone's life in my hands and saying, "You will be okay." And that is the greatest purpose anyone can have. I turned off my bedside lamp, looked at the ceiling one last time, and smiled. One day, I will be a doctor, and I will make a difference. This is not the end of my story. It's just the beginning. Because dreams never end. They only evolve. So, if you are struggling, if you are doubting yourself, just remember, keep going. One day, everything will make sense. And that day, you will look back and smile.